Welcome to Hockey with Talks podcast. Today I preview the semifinals in the 2021 Stanley Cup Playoffs. In this podcast, I do a preview of the potential second round playoff matchups. Some series have not been finished yet, but I'm doing this preview based off who I think will win their series. East Division Semifinals Preview. The East Division Semifinals is between the Boston Bruins and New York Islanders. Key forwards for the Boston Bruins: Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Taylor Hall, David Krejci, Craig Smith, Charlie Coyle, and Jake DeBrusk. Key defensemen: Charlie McAvoy, Brandon Carlo, Matt Grzelcyk, Jeremy Lauzon, and Connor Clifton. Key forwards for the New York Islanders: Matt Barzal, Brock Nelson, Josh Bailey, J.G. Pageau, Jordan Eberle, Casey Cizikas, Cal Clutterbuck, Kyle Palmieri, and Anthony Beauvillier. Key defensemen: Nick Leddy, Ryan Pulock, Adam Pelech, and Scott Mayfield. The X Factor for Boston is Sean Kuraly. The X Factor for the Islanders is Oliver Wahlstrom. The goalie matchup in this series is Tuukka Rask for Boston against Ilya Sorokin for the Islanders. The Boston Bruins and New York Islanders share an identical style. They both are defense-first teams that are well coached and have great goaltending. Boston has a slight advantage because they have the star power, but the Islanders don't lack offensive skill at all, despite being known as a defense-oriented team. During the regular season, the Bruins had a 3-5-0 record against the Islanders, but it should be mentioned that some of those losses came when the Bruins had a bunch of injuries. The goal scoring and the head-to-head matchups were close, with the Islanders outscoring the Bruins 21-19. Although the New York Islanders had the advantage in their head-to-head matchups, I think the Boston Bruins are arguably one of the hottest teams in the recent stretch of the season. A huge reason for this is because they are getting secondary scoring from the Taylor Hall line, which also features David Krejci and Craig Smith. Boston is also getting timely goals from Jake DeBrusk and solid two-way play from Charlie Coyle on the third line. Defensively, Charlie McAvoy has stepped up on both ends of the ice and has become an elite two-way defenseman. Other defensemen such as Jeremy Lauzon, Brandon Carlo, Matt Grzelcyk, and Connor Clifton have also done a tremendous job in the playoffs thus far. Tuukka Rask has been tremendous in goal for Boston and was a big reason why they defeated the Washington Capitals in 5 games. The New York Islanders are no strangers to being the underdogs in a series, so this is familiar territory. The Islanders thrive when they are the underdogs because they have nothing to lose. Matt Barzal continues to grow as a budding young star in the series against Pittsburgh, but he will really face a challenge in this series against Boston because they are structured and they will play him very physically to get him off his game. The Islanders' depth is overlooked, and it's always managed to make its impact felt in the playoffs. Players like J.G. Pageau and Kyle Palmieri are playing on the third line and are thriving because they are facing favorable matchups. As always, the Islanders' defense has been a major factor in the playoffs thus far. After getting off to a sluggish start, they have found their game and are playing some tough and physical hockey that isn't pleasing to play against. Ilya Sorokin has been a breakout star in the playoffs for the Islanders. He will need to be even better going up against a high-powered Bruins offense. This series is a lot closer than most people think, and I could see either team winning this series. My prediction is that Boston wins the series 4-2. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywith777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on anchor.fm/hockeywith777scouting. Central Division Semifinals Preview. The Central Division Semifinals should be between the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning. Key forwards for Carolina: Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen, Martin Necas, Jordan Staal, Vincent Trocheck, Nino Niederreiter, Jesper Fast, and Warren Foegele. Key defensemen: Dougie Hamilton, Jacob Slavin, Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, and Jake Bean. Key forwards for the Tampa Bay Lightning: Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, Andre Palat, Yanni Gourde, Alex Killorn, Blake Coleman, and Tyler Johnson. Key defensemen: Victor Hedman, Ryan McDonough, Eric Cernak, David Savard, and Mikhail Sergachev. The X Factors in this series: for Carolina, Brock McGinn, and for Tampa Bay, Anthony Cirelli. The goalie matchup in this series is Alex Nedeljkovic for Carolina against Andrei Vasilevskiy for Tampa Bay. A semifinals matchup between the Hurricanes and Lightning will be a great matchup, and I expect it to have a great mix of scoring, hitting, and goaltending. The regular season matchups between the Hurricanes and Lightning, with both teams winning 4 games apiece. Carolina having home ice advantage is huge for the Hurricanes because they were 3-1-0 at home while they were 1-3-0 on the road against Tampa Bay. The Lightning should have the advantage in this series. Granted, they were able to break even in the series despite being without Nikita Kucherov the entire season. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and they showed they can be flat out dominant whenever they want to be because of the players on their team. The Tampa Bay Lightning have two legit superstars on their team with Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos, as well as two other star players in Victor Hedman and Braden Point. One of the greatest strengths of the Lightning is their depth on offense and defense. They really don't have many weaknesses in the lineup. Their most consistent line 5-on-5 was the Yanni Gourde line, which also includes Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow. Defensively, they have 5 legit top 4 caliber defensemen, which is an improvement from last year's team that won the Stanley Cup. Andrei Vasilevskiy was the difference in the series against the Florida Panthers. If he continues to play like he has so far in this playoffs, Tampa Bay will be impossible to beat. The Carolina Hurricanes could pose a huge threat to the Tampa Bay Lightning because of their dominance on home ice. Because Carolina had the better regular season record, they have home ice advantage in the series, which is really important for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes have a great core of forwards, which include Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Jordan Staal, Teuvo Teravainen, and Martin Necas, as well as a terrific supporting cast, which includes Nino Niederreiter, Vincent Trocheck, Jesper Fast, and Warren Foegele. Hamilton, Slavin, Pesce, Shea, and Bean are all very solid defensemen that the Canes can trust with a ton of ice time. Alex Nedeljkovic has played solid in goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. He will really be tested against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he will need to at times stand on his head in order for the Hurricanes to come out on top in this series. The Tampa Bay Lightning have the advantage in the series because of Andrei Vasilevskiy. My prediction is that Tampa wins the series in 6 games. And now a word from our sponsor. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at HockeyWith777. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel at Lucas Aoyang. North Division Semifinals Preview. The North Division Semifinals should be between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Winnipeg Jets. Key forwards for the Toronto Maple Leafs: Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Nick Foligno, Alex Kerfoot, Zach Hyman, Joe Thornton, Jason Spezza, and Alex Galchenyuk. Key defensemen: Morgan Rielly, TJ Brody, Jake Muzzin, Justin Hall, and Rasmus Sandin. Key forwards for the Winnipeg Jets: Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Nikolai Ehlers, Andrew Kopp, Adam Lowry, Paul Stastny, and Matthew Perreault. Key defensemen: Josh Morrissey, Neil Pionk, Dylan DeMello, Logan Stanley, and Derek Forbort. The X Factor for Toronto is Pierre Engvall, and the X Factor for the Winnipeg Jets is Mason Appleton. The goalie matchup in this series: Jack Campbell for Toronto against Connor Hellebuyck for Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets look like a completely different team from a team in the last month of the season during the first round against the Edmonton Oilers. So the Toronto Maple Leafs better be prepared to face a team that is scrappy, hardworking, and is backstopped by one of the best goalies in the league. Toronto has a 6-4-0 record against Winnipeg in the regular season, but that record is a bit misleading because a few of those victories came during the Jets' losing streak. The Maple Leafs should be favorites in this series, but the Winnipeg Jets are fully capable of shutting down high-scoring teams. The Winnipeg Jets are coming off a 4-game sweep of the Edmonton Oilers, where they seemingly had an answer for everything the Oilers threw at them. Winnipeg has a great top 6, which features the likes of Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Paul Stastny. They also have a good supporting cast, which includes Andrew Kopp, Adam Lowry, Mason Appleton, and Matthew Perreault. Coming into the playoffs, the Jets' D-core was considered a weakness of the team, but in the playoffs, defensemen such as Derek Forbort, Dylan DeMello, and Logan Stanley have stepped up. Connor Hellebuyck played like a Vezina caliber goalie in the first round. He needs to continue to play like one if they want to beat Toronto. Despite losing John Tavares to a horrific injury in Game 1, the Leafs seemed to get better as the series went on against Montreal. Despite Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner being held in check for the majority of the series, the Leafs were able to get production from other players in the lineup, such as William Nylander, Alex Kerfoot, Jason Spezza, Joe Thornton, and Alex Galchenyuk, who have all played great and chipped in offensively. Defensively, the top 4 of Toronto has been great as expected, but the emergence of Rasmus Sandin and the great veteran presence of Zach Bogosian has really helped. Jack Campbell wasn't tested much in the series against Montreal, but if Toronto wants to win the series against Winnipeg, he will need to make some tough saves because Winnipeg is a team that really knows how to score some playoff type goals. The Toronto Maple Leafs have the better team on paper, but Connor Hellebuyck gives the Jets an advantage in goal, which could be the reason why the Jets pull off an upset. My prediction is that the Winnipeg Jets win the series 4-2. Make sure you check out my West Division semifinals preview on my hockey blog, hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com.